Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hollywood Dish. I know if you're on video, you've already realized, but there is no one joining me. So I am Rebecca North today, and we are missing Nicole. She's not feeling great today, so she decided to put her health first, although she really wishes she could be here. But instead, we have an awesome guest host with me today. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the one, the only, Sammy Kay.
Hello, Hollywood Dish viewers. How's everybody doing tonight?
Yeah, I mean, this is fun. You're like the substitute teacher for this episode here.
Yeah, no, I hope to be a cool substitute teacher when the show's a movie on a rolling VCR TV situation, and not one that makes you read the textbook out loud.
Yeah, well, I also feel like we have some, like, with your input, some interesting stories that we probably wouldn't have covered. So it'll be a cool new take on Hollywood Dish. But I guess, as I would always say, Sammy, what's your weekly update? What have you been since we
Weekly
last seen you
update.
on the SNL Network?
I am doing well. I'm excited because I'm going to Florida tomorrow for a wedding this weekend. So I've just been getting ready for that. And what else? We'll be going more into this later on in the episode, but I'm just like incredibly hyped about this new Kendrick Lamar album dropping tomorrow. It's been like 5 years. The last time he dropped an album, I was in college. And now I'm 5 years out of college. So do the math. It's been 5 years since he dropped his last album. And no, I'm really excited. I'm trying to think, is there any, like, should I update everybody on like movies and shows I've been watching? Or
Yes,
is that kind of how it goes?
Now let's do it.
I traversed to a movie theater this afternoon to see, I don't know if you're familiar with the new Alexander Skarsgård movie, The Northman. It's a Viking.
How was it?
It's good. It's a Viking like epic movie that takes place in like I think like 800 AD or something like that in Iceland. He's just like shirtless killing people for like 2.5 hours. So maybe fans of the show would want to venture out to the theater and see it, or wait till it's on streaming. But no, really, really fun. Well, I wouldn't say fun. Really enjoyable movie. Nicole Kidman, Anya Taylor-Joy was in it.
Nicole Kidman was in another movie.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's Nicole Kidman with Alexander Skarsgård, like in the movie together. And obviously they were on Big Little Lies together.
Yeah.
Except in this movie, she plays her or his mother, so that's like an interesting dynamic because obviously I've seen Big Little Lies, and like. I can never tell in the movie is like it's supposed to be like a weird like tension between them or not, but yeah. I don't know. It never. I don't want to speak too much about those details, but no, enjoyable movie. If you're not prone to like violence or gore, maybe skip out. But yeah, definitely recommend that.
Did you watch it in an AMC theater, perchance?
No. So me and my friend almost did. But the non-AMC was a little closer, in relation to where we live. So I did not get to do like a double feature of the Nicole Kidman ad.
Yes, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Yeah, I'm heartbroken that it didn't play before the movie. That was unfortunate. Yeah.
Also, if anyone has not seen, I'm sure it's on Google, Nicole Kidman does like... It is so strange. She does this like ad for AMC before they show any movie, and it's just her like. Also, you don't really get to hear her with like her natural Australian accent frequently. So one that's always like I always get taken aback because I forget.
Yeah.
And then it's like this huge monologue about movie theaters and how like the movies are such a big part of the world, but like it could not be more dramatic and like to the point of comedy. Now it's turned funny and it's
become an incredible meme if you're on like film Twitter or like just like film TikTok or anything like that. It's become like people have shirts with like the heartbreak feels good in a place like this with like Nicole Kidman with like a thing of popcorn. Like I've seen videos online of people like before a movie, like the entire theater like reciting like the monologue like in unison, like it's almost like it's a screening of Cats.
It's so
or something
but
like that.
Also though Like, I'm surprised Chloe Fineman hasn't taken to her Instagram because I know she does the Nicole Kidman. That like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Like, obviously, this wouldn't be an SNL sketch. I mean, if it would, I wouldn't
Hmm.
complain. But it's a little too niche and probably not funny enough.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
surprised we haven't seen Chloe like go to her Instagram and do the monologue in her Nicole Kidman impression.
Yeah, that's interesting because like it does sound niche, but then also like last year SNL did that like Beck Bennett's final sketch was like
Hmm.
the Vin Diesel like AMC ad, and
Yes.
like that is like not based on, or it's based on a real ad, but it's not like for like movie theaters or anything like that. So
Yeah.
like I feel like the Nicole Kidman thing is legitimately is like very legit, like in
It's
like
so
spaces
good.
like people like know about it. I feel like I don't know. Potentially could work. Would love to see
Yeah.
her do something on her Instagram or something like that. But
Yeah. I like that.
how about yourself? What have you been watching recently?
Um, I honestly like have been in such like reality TV. I've had a ton of work like these
Mm.
past 2 weeks. So what I do, and actually, well, now I can't believe I'm admitting this. My coworkers told me today that that they knew about my podcast and they found it.
Oh
So
my god.
that's interesting. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
But I guess I've had a lot of work. So I've been watching a lot of what I do is like after work at night when I just have like busy work and stuff to do, I just put on reality TV in the background.
Hmm.
And I started watching this show called Summer House for like the first time, and it's good. It's like 10 or so, it depends on the season. Just people have a summer house in the Hamptons from New York City, and
Mm.
it's so stupid and so much drama. So that's what I've been watching. I've been pretty boring with that
Mm.
recently. And for any drag race updates, if people are waiting for them,
People
obviously we
are
crowned
waiting
a
on pins and
winner.
needles.
I know I wasn't here to share because I was away. We didn't have Hollywood Dish, but they crowned a winner,
Hmm.
so it's
Oh
no
wow.
surprise. Congrats to Willow Pill, that was awesome. And then the premiere of the All Winner season is coming on May 20th. So just
Oh
waiting for
wow.
that. But if you are curious what I've been up to, listeners, since Monday's roundtable where I was on, I've been spending all week making a focaccia bread. And I'm no baker. Like I'll cook myself dinner. I'm nothing good, but I prompted this whole idea of a potluck lunch at work. I was like, let's just
Mm.
do it. This would be cool bonding. I'm gonna make a focaccia. I'm like made this grand statement. I'm making a focaccia. Then I'm like, well, damn, I have to go get ingredients. I got them. And as I'm making it, I'm like, all right, like this website's saying the yeast is supposed to foam or just dissolve. So I just pour it in as is, and you have to like it's a process. You have to
Yeah.
refrigerate it overnight. And
You
I'm
said
looking
you
and I'm
were,
like,
cooking all week, and my first question was like, was that like an expression, or you've like actually
oh,
been
oh
working
no.
all week on
Okay,
this?
all week from the round table. So Monday was the shopping
Yeah.
of ingredients. Tuesday
Hmm.
was the making the dough. And last night I actually I looked at the dough in the refrigerator and it was supposed to rise and I knew this wasn't working out, but I'm like, I need to actually make an effort to try to make it before I give up. So I procrastinated. I went out last night, I had dinner.
Yeah.
I came home at 11. I was like, okay, it's time to bake this bad boy. It
Oh my
was,
god.
as my roommate so graciously described, an artisanal cracker. Like it might as well have been matzah. It was
Yeah.
flat.
Oh
So
my god.
so that's literally what I've been up to all week is making this
Hmm.
focaccia. And I had to walk in the walk of shame into this potluck lunch that I created for the team. And I made such a big deal about making this.
Ah.
And they're like, where's the focaccia? And I'm like, I had to just look at them and be like, I messed up. I didn't do it.
So
So
you didn't bring up you didn't bring like a backup
I brought
dish
other
to
food.
the
I
potluck?
did. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
yesterday I had a hunch, so I got some cheese crackers, veggies, and hummus because I was like,
Smart.
I know this just isn't gonna quite do it, but it was rough.
Hmm.
And honestly, I'm so excited to have you on today, and I think the
I'm excited to be here.
stories today are going to kind of be as bleak as my focaccia story. So well, I think the way we're gonna do it is there are a lot of stories surface level, so we'll do kind of a rapid fire episode. So I'll start with probably the main thing that's been in the news, and I know SNL loves to have penis talk, so now we're here to do it also. But Jesse Williams has been starring in a Broadway show production of Take Me Out, and there is a full frontal nudity scene of Jesse Williams. And he's a Grey's Anatomy star. If you've ever watched, that's kind of, I think, mainly where he's got his start. And actually, he left the show this season, I think, to pursue this Broadway career. And he has a full frontal nude scene. And someone took a video in the theater and it leaked. And I mean, not only would it leak as any nude would, it is extra being circulated because of how nice of a package she has. Like, not only, I mean, it makes sense that he would leave Grey's Anatomy to have his penis out on stage for people live, because like that is what he should be set out to do due to the beauty of it. But also, besides that, I'm not going to make you comment on that because I'm also sure you probably haven't seen it. But if you want to, Twitter. Have you seen it?
Yeah. No, not yet. I saw that he was trending on Twitter a couple of days ago, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. He's like, I like used to watch Grey's Anatomy like 10 years ago, and I think that's like right when he like joined. So I'm like, oh, that's like bizarre to see him trending. He's not like the biggest, you know, actor or anything like that.
Well, he might be.
No pun intended. I guess. You know, won't know till I see the receipts, but
yes. But also, besides the fact that we're just talking about how he has a beautiful penis, or I'm not going to group you with that. There is a no phone policy at Broadway shows, especially. There's a specific no phone policy in the production of Take Me Out. So that's why there's a lot of now conversation going on about like, this is pretty messed up. I know the Broadway show is like hired extra security and like they're taking a lot of measures to make sure like nothing like this happens again, because I haven't, I know it's so good. I haven't seen the show, but I don't know if he's the only one that's had a full frontal scene. And honestly, the funny thing is I was watching Watch What Happens Live, which is Andy Cohen's Bravo show, like nightly show. And he always has guests on, and he had Jesse on the show before the day before this all leaked, and I was like, what is he doing on Watch What Happens Live? And it was to promote the show. So not only was there extra hype around the Broadway show, like this came out. So I'm curious what you think. Like Jesse has not like said that they are like that they're really upset about this going viral. So I think this is pretty screwed up, honestly. Like you're coming there and there is a spoken word on Broadway. You don't take your phone out, and especially here, like where they specifically are like having full frontal naked scenes. But I'm curious what you think, because if he doesn't really care or hasn't come out saying it, like a lot of people are mad. So like about the lack of privacy, but like if he doesn't care, then like I guess.
Well, I guess my take on it is like it's not only like a nudity thing. It's like just like a respect to like Broadway in general and like live theater in general. Like I don't like it when people take their phones out at like a movie. You know, whether it's the text or like people taking their flashlight out to like find their seat because they're like 20 minutes late, or like just like take like I've seen people just like take pictures of like movies, and that just like frustrates me, because like that's why people like don't go to movies as much anymore, because they're like tired of watching them with like disrespectful people. And I feel like that is something even more so with like live theater, to where you know, you're paying, and like a lot of these people are paying like so much money to see a Broadway show, especially like a hot like ticket Broadway show.
Yeah.
You know, you're not only like disturbing the people around you, like you're definitely disturbing the people on stage, and I think it's like super disrespectful, whether or not someone's, you know, whipping their schlong out for, you know, the paying customers to see. My take is, you know, if you want to see it, you got to go fly to New York and you got to pay a ticket. That's my take.
I agree. And also that's kind of the show's take. So they have a quote that said, "This will allow us to focus on any audience member who looks like they're doing something suspicious and assess whether they're going through their purse to take a breath mint or pull out their phone," as they now have like full camera views of the audience and anything. So just like a ton of security. And I mean, honestly, like I know this isn't the case, but maybe the reason why they're like not necessarily complaining is this has been the most buzz I've seen about this Broadway show because of this. So, but it begs the question, like, now that I've already seen it, do I really have to go? Like, obviously people weren't just going to see his penis, but like there's so much hype around the show. And I'm like, now because of this, that it's like, it's something, it's the shining light at the end of the tunnel. Like, it sucks. And like people are disrespectful. I do some stand-up open mics, and like I'm a nobody who is just starting comedy and I don't care. And when someone has their phone out, especially like that I could see, I'm like, okay, I don't like you. I don't like you
Yeah.
anymore. Like, it is rude. And especially when someone's doing something actually talented, like putting on a Broadway show, like it's extra rude. So I completely agree. It's not as much of like the lacking. I mean, it would be honestly though, it's like kind of, it is a double standard. Like if this were a woman, people would be a lot more outraged because of
Mhm.
like the private. So I guess like you kind of have to keep that in mind with Jesse too. Like, yeah, it is something that like, although he is choosing to show it, he's not choosing it to be on the internet. Otherwise he'd have an OnlyFans account. Like,
Yeah.
so
But this isn't like the only time this has happened. Like I know like a while ago, didn't this happen to like Daniel Radcliffe, like post Harry Potter? Like he had like some
yeah,
sort of like nude appearance on Broadway. And I think like the main difference between like now and then is like just social media is just way, bigger than, I don't remember exactly when he did it, but it was like after Harry Potter. So it was probably like 2011, 2012. And like
mm-hmm.
people's cameras like aren't as like the iPhone cameras back then weren't as
Yeah.
like good now. Like now people got like that 4K image of
Yeah, but
Jesse
Jesse doesn't even
Williams,
he doesn't need 4K. He'll be
Yeah.
okay either way. But
Yeah.
but yeah, also so that just I actually could see SNL doing some sort of bit about this, but not only this, so there's other Broadway news, which I know is so shout out to Nicole. It's paining her to not talk about Broadway like herself. So just pour one out for her tonight on here. But there's been a lot of talks about Patti Lupone. She blasted Broadway theatergoers for not adhering to mask policy. So from what I've heard from a credible source, a video on TikTok of a guy that has been there is after the Broadway show, of Company. So she's like one of the stars of Company, and there was they were filming a Q&A after at the American Theater Wing, along with some of her co-stars, and also like from what I gathered is that like the interviewer was like a little weird too, and was like definitely not like it was like asking weird questions and making kind of some people uncomfortable and like bringing up kind of weird questions for a Broadway Q&A. Like she brought up Roe v. Wade and like weird stuff like this. And like they want to talk about the amazing Broadway show. And I do have to say, Shelby, our producer, has seen the Patti Lupone perform in Company and said she was amazing. So the Q&A should have been more focused on the performance rather than like other things. So I think she was already just like kind of in a mood because like why? But then other people in the theater were not wearing their masks properly, so you still are required to wear masks in Broadway shows. And two of them had their masks below their nose. So, quote Lapone said is, "Put your mask over your nose. That's why you're in the theater. If that's the rule, if you don't want to follow the rule, get the f out of here. I'm serious. Who do you think you are if you don't respect people sitting around you?" When the audience member yelled back, "I pay your salary," Patti Lupone, don't speak that way to anyone, especially Patti Lupone.
Yeah.
But Patti Lupone was quick to challenge it and said, "You pay my salary? Bulls. Chris Harper pays my salary," in reference to the show's producer. And Patti Lupone did not immediately respond for requests with comment, but a spokesperson for a company said that they stand with Patti in a statement. And again, just Broadway's open. We went through this whole thing in the pandemic of like, we got to get Broadway reopened. And like, if part of that is like respecting the cast members by having them wear a mask and all the people working there, I know it's still one of the last places. And although New York doesn't have a mask requirement, I don't think anymore like that. If that's the rules, respected, and don't talk to Patti Lupone that way.
Yeah.
So what do you
No,
think?
this episode's all about just like following the rules out there. Like when
Yeah.
you're going to the theater, you're going just be respectful to people. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know Patti LuPone. Maybe I'm uncultured. I feel like I'm usually with it, but maybe with Broadway, it's a bit of a blind spot for me just because I don't live in New York. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, obviously something like this is going to go viral, especially when you're like cussing someone out like on stage.
Mhm.
But uh, we've been doing like the whole mask thing for like over 2 years at this point, and
Yeah.
like it sucks that we still have to, but like I like am like very much like trying to respect, like if I'm
Yeah.
going into like someone's like restaurant or store and like that's like the policy, like yeah, I'm gonna like follow the policy because I don't want to like make the people who are like working there uncomfortable or anything like that. And
Yeah.
not so like mass policy political or whatever, but I don't know, it just goes back to respect. It doesn't have to like be like a certain side. It's just like making sure that people are comfortable and
Yeah. Just
I don't know.
respect people. That's it.
Yeah.
And
RESPECT.
respect Broadway performers. Like, we've been wanting it
Yeah.
to reopen. I do see, especially since Broadway's obviously so close to home for SNL, I could see them doing some sort of sketch about this. I'm even imagining like a cold, well, actually, I'm imagining two things. So I'm imagining like kind of a cold open, but they don't only have these two Broadway performers. They can like, as they do, like put politicians or stuff like into other scenarios or have like Fox News reporters talking about it. But also, I
Yeah.
could see someone impersonating Patti Lupone on Update and actually like talking about the experience. And Patti Lupone, like, I don't know who would play her. Honestly, I think Melissa could be like cool, like to play her also, or like Kate. But I
Yeah.
think, I don't know. I really could see them talking about just this Broadway drama. And like, there are so many, obviously, we made a lot of them just like jokes about Jesse Williams' penis anyway. Like,
Right.
it's easy.
Well, yeah, and I that one in particular, I wonder if they'll comment on because, like, Jesse Williams like made a cameo this season, didn't he, during like the Kim
Yeah.
Kardashian episode?
Yes, he
So,
did. So
you
wait,
know,
they could bring him on,
yeah,
especially because he's
it'd be
in New York.
funny. Yeah, it'd
Oh,
be
wait,
interesting if
no.
they did like one of those. Wait, what?
I was gonna say they could bring him on, but then I thought about like the Broadway performance will be Saturday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I guess they wouldn't be able to do that. It would be funny if like
yeah.
obviously this won't like stay in the news for a while, but sometimes they'll just have like a real life person like just come on Weekend Update or something like that to like
Yeah.
talk about stuff like this. But
Yeah.
I think this is like a story that is not gonna last very long, and with his Broadway
Oh,
schedule, will probably not
no.
be addressed in that manner. But I can see them bringing it up.
Yeah. It won't last as long as Jesse Williams' penis. Okay.
But I'm
Hey, Sammy,
bummed.
why don't you introduce our next story?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a clever transition or
Me
anything like
neither. That's
that
why I chose
for
that.
this next one. But yeah, so this is an article from Pitchfork. If you are in touch with, music or hip hop in general, you've probably heard about this story already. But the headline is Young Thug and Gunna indicted on racketeering charges. Prosecutors call YSL a criminal street gang. And if you're not familiar with it's specifically like RICO charges, which stands for Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. So yeah, I mean, I'm no lawyer or anything like that, and I've been trying to brush up on this topic a lot over the last couple of days. But yeah, I mean, basically, like these are the type of charges that, like, if they are getting you on RICO charges, like they have the case built against you. Like it is not looking good in that regard for Young Thug, as far as like, you see like celebrities get arrested all the time. Maybe not all the time, but like, over the years you see celebrities get arrested and like, it's a minor thing and they, don't do any jail time or whatever. But it seems like that's not going to be the case here. And Gunna as well. Gunna's charges, from my understanding, are more like thin and like loose and like more so by association and by like specifically like lyrics in his songs that like kind of connect him to YSL.
Yeah,
So
that was my question. It's like, are are they both like, so they're not being brought up on like the same charges together? Like, I guess each individual member
it's
of
yeah,
YSL.
yeah, like they're not like the same chart. God, I don't know enough about the
That's so
specifics, so
fair.
I wanna point people to articles. But from my understanding is in every like sort of editorial piece I've read and watched videos on, Young Thug is the one they're really trying to go after,
Got it.
and a lot of other people have been indicted by association, but it's really him that is going to be the most central, and he's like, he's like
Mm-hmm.
um, the most central, from my understanding, in this case. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's sad, on multiple levels. I mean, like as like just a music fan in general, I know like maybe not my generation, but like the generation, um, you know, um, behind is it behind me? The people younger than me like were
Yeah.
really big fans of Young Thug. I recently just started getting into his music. He's like collaborated with a lot of people that I listen to, and I've always liked his contributions.
Yeah.
And they actually both Young Thug and Gunna performed on SNL
I'm
this
literally looking
season.
up the hosts with each of them. So they both made
Yeah,
their debut on SNL this season. So Gunna performed in April with oh my god, Jared
Gerard
Gerard
Carmichael.
Gerard
Yeah,
Carmichael and Young Thug, SNL host, performed with Rami Malek. So they both made their debut on SNL this season. Actually, Gunna I guess he made his first premiere when Young Thug was, because Young Thug did a song and Travis Barker was there,
yeah.
and Gunna was also part of
And
it.
then the Nate
And
Russ song. I actually really like that song
yes,
too.
I know it's a good song.
Yeah.
But so they both made their debut on SNL. So I'm so curious. Like, I don't, I don't think the show will address it, because it's also like, I don't know, it's kind of tricky, like legal stuff, and like there hasn't. I feel like they would wait for like an actual sentence rather than just like
Mm.
the talks. But they both were musical guests this season on the show, which is like pretty
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. This isn't like a Morgan Wallen thing where it's like,
Yeah,
oh, like, he's, involved in like COVID stuff and just like more like
and
loose things in the
yeah,
headlines. This is like, I don't know. I am
yeah,
very
this
curious
isn't
to
good.
see if they'll address it anyway. If anyone could address it, I can only really see Michael
I
Che doing
was gonna
something on
say the same
Update.
thing. Yeah,
And he would like, I can see it. I mean, he is always trying to like poke the bear in situations.
of
So I
course.
can see him potentially commenting on it. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's like, it's just just a sad situation, whether you're a
Yeah.
fan of their music or not. I mean, I know Young
Hmm.
Thug specifically has like a lot of kids. Like I think he has like eight or nine
Yeah.
kids. So the ripple effects of the entire thing
Yeah. It's not great.
yeah, not great. I mean, this is like, from my understanding, again, like when I first like read about it, I don't know enough about Rico charges
Me
at
neither.
all to like, I was like, oh, they got arrested. That's crazy. But like videos I saw about it are basically like he is like gonna go away for a
Yeah,
long
he's
time if he's like
he's pretty
proven.
screwed.
So like as far as like his career, it seems like Gunna, it won't necessarily end up that way.
Yeah,
But it's unfortunate. I mean, he's like, Young Thug's like young. I think he's only like 30 or something like
I
that.
know.
So it's just like
It's so
kind
sad.
of it's just a sad situation. So
I
it kind
know.
of goes back to, yeah, he's like 30 on the dot. So like, yeah, it's
Dang.
just a sad situation.
For his
Don't know
family.
exactly if the show, yeah, will address it or not, but it will be interesting to see if it comes up at all. Do you have any other thoughts
Yeah.
on the story? I feel like I
No,
took
I
all
was
the
just to say,
oxygen from it.
I really don't know anything about Rico or anything like this, so much so that I read it and I was like, oh, Rico Nasty's involved in this also. Like I just saw her. Like she's great.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like I mean, we'll wait and see how it plays out, but like it doesn't look good. Like I was reading, and again, I don't really know a lot of the legal jargon or anything, but I'm like, from what I can understand, that's bad. Like, and if I'm thinking that's
Yeah.
bad, it's probably a lot worse than that. But yeah, I wonder if they'll address it. But I don't know. We'll keep you updated on Hollywood Dish when we learn more about this story, because it's definitely going to be ongoing. So
Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, in happier news, in a lot
Yeah.
more exciting news, Zac Efron says he has his heart is in a High School Musical reboot. So he was just being interviewed. This could be the start of something new. He was in an interview with E! News, and they asked if he would be interested, and he said, of course. I mean, I have an opportunity in any form to go back and work with that team. That would be amazing. My heart is still there. That would be incredible. I hope it still happens. So High School Musical, obviously, like we grew up watching High School Musical, both Sammy
Yeah.
and myself, and like they they did the High School Musical, the series, which is kind of a meta storyline. So for
Hmm.
people that are confused, that wasn't a reboot. It was basically like, okay, it was about high school students that went to the school where High School Musical was filmed. So they went to the high school in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where they had filmed High School Musical. So they know that like Troy and Gabriella are, they consider, because some people don't, fake characters there, and then they put on High School Musical to play. So it's very confusing.
Yeah,
So that's
your
not a reboot.
explanation of this, I might be like, this might be too niche. I don't know if you've like caught wind of like the new like Pixar like Buzz Lightyear movie they're putting out, like the
Yeah.
Lightyear thing with Chris Evans. There's like a really funny viral tweet that Chris Evans put out that like you just reminded me of as you're trying to like explain the
Yeah.
convoluted nature of that show. Basically, like the tweet, like there's confusion when that movie was announced to where like, oh, it's like Buzz Lightyear, but it's like not a toy. He's like, yeah, this is
Hmm.
not a movie about Buzz Lightyear, the toy. This is a movie about the real life person that the toy Buzz Lightyear was based on. That's
Damn.
just a tangent that your explanation made me think
It's the
of.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Yes. It's
So
very
that
meta.
was not a reboot. So there still could be talks of a reboot. I know they did one of those like this was very shocking news because they did one of those like COVID like, oh, watch the cast reunion, and it was just them in their
Mm,
houses like saying like singing we're all in this together like in their individual apartments, and Zac
mm.
Efron wasn't in it because he didn't want to be a part of it. So he's like kind of tried to like ostracize himself from the show, but then he's so willing to do this reboot, and I'm like, maybe he's just not getting the work that he would. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'd watch this. I don't know what it could be about though, because like,
I feel like it's got to be a reunion similar to like
yeah,
American Pie did like their American
yeah,
reunion. I feel like that's like the way you would go. Kind of like yeah, what you were alluding to before as far as like Zac Efron's like involvement. I do think it's like very interesting. I feel like his career, especially like even 5 years ago, was like pretty like exciting. Like he was in like the
yeah.
Neighbors movies with Seth Rogen. Like he had that
Hmm.
movie with Adam Devine. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. He was like becoming like a
Such a
comedy
good
star.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a fun movie. I mean, so and then like kind of looking at the last couple of years, I feel like the biggest thing he was in last was like The Greatest Showman, and that was like 5 years ago at this point. And
yeah.
obviously, like the pandemic affected a lot of things,
Hmm.
a lot of people's careers and kind of like the projects that were being made and stuff. But like he's in this new like movie that comes out this weekend, which is like why I think he's like been doing press called
Yeah,
Firestarter. It's like a Stephen King adaptation, but like looks like it's gonna make like $5 at the box office. So I don't know. He
yeah.
definitely like probably
Needs
see
work.
like or like wants a boost. I mean, and like I feel like of all the like alum from High School Musical, like he was like the biggest for the longest time. Do you think that's still like the case, or do you think like Vanessa Hudgens or anyone has kind of like
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like she's like really the only one
yeah.
that
She, I think.
there's an
I mean,
argument
like,
for.
I
I mean, Ashley
know.
Tisdale's
Ashley
like
Tisdale was the other one.
famous, but like
Um, Yeah, like I know Vanessa, they're different, but like also Vanessa Hudgens is now doing like red carpet, so it's like a different
yeah,
like I think she kind of gave up after like the Spring Breakers, and like now that she's kind of, I mean, she probably is making more money than Zac Efron with her Netflix deal with the Princess Switch,
right.
which is like I have to come clean and said I've seen them all, and they're not, the first one wasn't bad, and then they get
Yeah,
progressively worse. But I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure
My
she
girlfriend loves
probably
those.
makes more money with that deal than like anything else.
A
But
hundred percent.
I'd say they're different. I mean, she kind of blew up during the pandemic for not so good stuff when she said like, I just don't know I don't really know why everyone's thinking such a big deal. Like people are gonna die, and like that's
She just
life.
really,
Like
really wanted to go to Coachella, and I saw her post her
literally.
Coachella pictures a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, good for you, Vanessa Hudgens. You
I
finally,
know.
after 2 years, made it back to
I
Coachella.
know.
She was
But
recently in that one movie though, the
she
Andrew
was in
Garfield,
something. Oh,
Tick Tick
oh yeah. So
Boom.
she kind of
Yeah.
took more to like, I mean, her roots are in Broadway and theater and all that. So I actually
Mhm.
saw her. She started in this. So I actually, I'm a huge like Vanessa Hudgens fan from when I was younger. Like I was
Mhm.
obsessed with her. I wanted to be her. Like, So when I was like in middle school, I saw she was in this show called Gigi on it, the show I think was called like Gigi on Broadway, and it was like
Okay.
a play based in France, and she was the lead, and like it was fine. I saw her after the show, and she signed. My dad waited in line. Me, my mom, my sister went,
Oh my
and
God.
then he waited, and I got my thing signed and a picture with her. So all my dreams came true. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like they're probably equal stars for different reasons. But I'm like, I actually would love them to do like a show, but like a PG-13 rated R kind of
Yeah.
version of them, like in their adulthood. Like, obviously, assuming him, like Troy and Gabriella are together, like maybe they're going through a divorce. Like I don't
So
know.
you want it to be depressing, basically.
No,
You
no,
want it
no,
to
no.
be
But you know
like
what happens? They go through the
right. They like
divorce. They try to
start.
explore
Yeah.
themselves. They end up together at the
Yeah.
end. Like she
Yeah.
goes to see her old high. They go to see their old high school friends to reminisce about the better days, like in their separation. And then they like have a dance battle, end up together. So, just I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm
I
down for
think
it
like yeah, I'm definitely down for it. And obviously like Disney Plus, like they just like pump out like a lot of content and like will give like
so
any
much.
character, any like intellectual property like a spin-off. So like this is obviously, I mean, they basically already like have used like the name with like the TV show. So like I'm sure they would
Hmm.
love to like do something with the original cast that would be very popular. I guess like
Yeah,
my take, like my initial thought was like kind of like where you were going with like a more rated R approach to it. But you know, those movies are so like goofy and like stupid and like campy that I feel
yeah,
like going the other way would be funny to where like almost like the Brady Bunch movie in like the 90s where like they're still like in like the High School Musical
yeah.
like kind of PG world, but like they have
That
like these
makes
like adult problems, I guess.
no.
I
I
think that
like
could be
that.
like a funny way, like just kind of like and like just you know almost take like an approach that they do with like those Vanessa Hudgens Netflix movies, like really just like be like obvious with everything you're doing and like be
Yeah,
cheesy and just like really lean into it.
I like that. I like that. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
I mean,
And it's
there's been like
January,
high
but
school, yeah, there's been like High School Musical sketches in the show's history, and I
yeah,
think they've even done like a High School Musical 4 sketch. So I don't know, might be like you know, unless it really happens, maybe SNL will comment on it, but I don't
yeah.
know if this will be
I
the
know. I'm
weekend.
curious.
But Selena
Yeah,
Gomez is on the show,
I
so
know. So
you know,
Disney
there's like the Disney connection.
and her and Vanessa, I think, are still friends. Like even like a
Hmm.
cameo could be cool either way. I
Yeah,
don't think this is a
yeah.
Zac Efron moment, but that would be
Hmm.
cool. But yeah, why don't in realms of music?
Yeah, very music and performative themed
Yeah,
episode of Hollywood Dish. Yeah, this you know was a music video that went viral this past week. That you know I think it broke some records for like the amount of views again in 24 hours. So maybe you guys have seen it yet. If not, I definitely recommend it. So Kendrick Lamar, who I you know alluded to earlier in the show, you know, hasn't dropped an album in a while. Been 5 years since his last project. He is releasing his next album tomorrow. Actually, it will drop in like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and you know I will be waiting till
hmm,
then to listen to it. But you know, in promotion or in anticipation of his albums in the past, he has always released a song in the Heart series, which is a series of songs, you know, called the Heart Part Two, the Heart Part
hmm,
Three. And it's basically like him like setting the scene for his album and kind of like giving people an update on like where he is in his life and like the things he's talking about and thinking about. You know, he's not like a celebrity like Kanye, for example, who's like always in the news and is always making headlines. He like enjoys his private life. He actually like people didn't know he had like another kid until like he released his like
hmm.
album art cover yesterday, and like it's like his like family's on the cover and like that he has a new kid. Like you know, like
That's
he is like
awesome.
not his private life is not in the news, which is awesome, and you know, awesome for him if that's like what he wants to do. But yeah, so this music video came out for the Heart Part 5 this past weekend, kind of dropped out of nowhere. People knew the album was coming out this Friday, but you know, people were like, "Oh, is he going to do a Heart Part 5?" And he did. And if you haven't seen the music video, it's really cool because
So
he
cool.
basically uses deepfake technology, which is like the technology that has been really prevalent in the last couple of years, where you can like take someone's face and like, you know, CG on it onto your face, and like it like looks very seamless. So in the song, he's kind of like rapping from like different perspectives of people like big in the culture for like good and bad reasons. So the people whose like face he's like rapping or that he's like taken on in the video are OJ Simpson, Kanye, Jussie Smollett, Will Smith, Kobe Bryant, and Nipsey Hussle. So, you know, and throughout the every time he changes faces, there's like kind of like lyrics in the song that like relate kind of to like who he's like rapping as, I guess. Like when his face changes to Kanye, that the first line is like "friends bipolar," so you know, making a reference a little bit to
Damn.
Kanye, and
That's not
yeah,
even a
obviously,
reference.
yeah.
All
No,
out.
it's like it's an acknowledgement. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. You know, if you or I don't know, have you seen this video? Like,
I've seen it.
are you
I'm a
into it?
Kendrick. I'm a Kendrick girl. I also like am such a nerd for like the deepfake technology is crazy. Like, quick
Yeah.
anecdote about deepfakes is so I work in tech and we have like this monthly like all hands meeting where we like all perform. God, I'm really in that space. We don't perform. We present the work we've been
Yeah.
doing and update, and anyone that has to present, the guy actually who is like in charge of it, deep fakes the presenter, and we always have a theme for it. So like for example, like imagine, I don't even know what a past theme is like. We had like a 60s, like Beatles, like that type of theme, and they would deep fake everyone's faces into like
Oh
a,
wow.
a GIF of like something like that. So deep faking
So
technology,
it's
like
like
I
scary.
played with it. I played with some of deep
Yeah.
faking technology, and it's like super cool. But the way that he did in this video is like just so smart, and like his lyrics I find always tell a story. I even find like the fact that he sets the scene for his albums with the single. I know other people like will drop a single beforehand, like Taylor Swift for example, and this doesn't necessarily like I guess it kind of shows the tone for the album, but it doesn't kind of precursor it. And
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick is great, and again he's one of like the most popular rappers of our generation, but it's so cool that we don't know factors about his life, and like he doesn't find the need or pressure to pump out a million albums in his lifetime, because he just waits till it's perfect, kind of like Rihanna is right now. Like wait till you
Mm-hmm.
have it, rather than Kanye, like who just does it a lot and then
Yeah.
promises stuff and doesn't deliver. Like you don't need
Right.
to do that. Like when your music is art, like take your time, and like yeah, it's frustrating we haven't gotten an album in so long, but like I'm excited. Like I cannot wait for it.
Yeah. No, I'm super excited. You know, I everything with the technology is like so like insane to me. That's really cool that
Yeah.
you like play around with it and stuff. I feel like a lot of movies and TV shows are like using it a lot more now, and like
Mm-hmm.
the technology is just like crazy good. So it's cool
Yeah.
that, and you know, a lot of people were making jokes about how like, yeah, that's why he hasn't dropped music in like 5 years, is because he's been working on this video, like trying to make it perfect. But then, you know, Will Smith, obviously that thing, you know, Will Smith wouldn't have been in this video like 2 months
Yeah.
ago. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
so obviously certain aspects of it are a little more fresh, but no, I'm super
Mm-hmm.
excited. And, you know, tying it back to SNL, you know, we did a lot of us here at the SNL Network did like predictions for like who we think are going to be the host and musical guest for the rest of the season. I've not been doing so well so far. I think the only thing I've gotten right is Arcade Fire.
Me too.
But I have, yeah. Everyone was like, yeah, it's Arcade Fire, SNL. That makes sense. But I have Kendrick as the musical guest for the finale, which, you know, I'm going to pat myself on the back just because Kendrick's album wasn't even announced or dated when we made these predictions. But
Yeah.
like, it seemed like there were rumors that it was going to happen sometime this summer. So I'm doubling down. It's going to happen. It needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping on Saturday, I assume they'll show the lineup, and you
Yeah.
know, we'll see.
Well, my wild prediction was like my wild
Yeah.
card one is I know you're only supposed to pick one person, but Nicole let it slide as a twofer. I had
Okay.
Tracy Ellis Ross and Diana Ross, because I
Oh
know
wow.
Diana, they both like I think Tracy said she wouldn't do the show unless her mom was in it, or vice versa. So
Okay.
don't quote me on that. So I like read that and I'm like, this would be so sick.
That would be really
But
cool.
but that's my prediction. But yeah, I I would love if Kendrick was on it. I maybe like, yeah, his album will drop. Like, it's not a bad idea. I'm surprised he wouldn't be this
Yeah,
weekend's musical guest, especially unless
maybe. But
Post
he's like
drops something
such
tomorrow. I
right.
don't.
Well, his Post Malone's album comes out June 3rd.
Yeah,
So that's like
so
a couple weeks in advance. Maybe he's like dropping a
I'll drop
single
a
tomorrow or
single. That would
something.
make
But like
sense.
I feel like Kendrick's like he's like the finale guy, or he's
Yeah,
like a season premiere guy,
that's so fair.
So no
Yeah,
no offense
that's
to
fair.
Post Malone, but I think Kendrick,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. And then I think our final story today is just, well, it's not as much of a full story, just like they came out with the shows that were being canceled and renewed for 2022, 2023. So just Sammy and I kind of went through the list and picked out some standout shows that saw to us. So in the list of renewed shows is I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson? Which one is it?
Robinson. Tim Robbins
Robinson.
is the
Okay.
guy
That's not.
from Shawshank Redemption.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I knew it sounded familiar.
That'd be a
Amy
different show. I'd watch that.
that would actually be really funny. Amy Schumer Learns to Cook, Barry, Big Mouth, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and then a list of shows that canceled are the Saved by the Bell reboot, Mr. Mayor, Keenan, Cooking with Paris, and The Real, which is a talk show with a bunch of really well-known people. So that was just the list. Look it up. It's a huge list of shows. Honestly, I'd say more renewed than canceled. I feel like they weren't canceling. Maybe it's because we're all at home and just watching TV. But the standouts from that list that I'm really upset about Cooking with Paris being canceled. And basically, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's Paris Hilton cooking show. I watched the entire series in a day.
Oh my God.
And it's incredible. And it's like, but it's, you also see glimpses of like the real Paris. Like, I mean, she's playing up a lot of her character, like for most of the show, but it's funny. But I think that I'm net zero now because of Amy Schumer Learns to Cook. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's her and her husband. They started during quarantine with like her assistant and how like I think like babysitter and all that, like literally recording it. They show it like on like a handheld like recorder. So I think that's just it's funny. And I mean Amy Schumer gets a lot of hate, but as we know on Hollywood Dish, I am an unapologetic stan of Amy Schumer. So I'm happy about this, but which of that list like is a standout to you?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't, help with the Cooking with Paris renewal. I didn't know. I mentioned earlier, I didn't know.
It's on Netflix, though. You should watch Netflix.
Yeah, maybe if I watch it and all of our viewers watch it, they'll bring it back.
It's genuinely funny. Like, it's good.
Yeah. Does she talk about her NFT, the bad ape that she had on Jimmy Fallon? No,
but I think this might have been before
good.
that. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, the celebrity cooking show that I watch, I wonder if that's been renewed. Is the Selena Gomez one? That one's really fun. I watched that a lot in quarantine. As far as like the shows that got canceled or renewed, I mean, I Think You Should Leave is something I'm really excited about getting renewed. Obviously, Tim Robinson's like an SNL alum, and there's been a lot of SNL alumni on the show. It's like easily the show that me and my group of friends quote the most. These days,
it's so good.
I feel like it's grown such a cult following at this point that I do wonder if, like, I don't know, Tim Robinson's not a huge name, but I feel like in some circles he's like a bigger name than like a Gerard Carmichael or other people who have hosted recently. So I think it would be cool to see Tim Robinson host someday.
So
like
cool.
That would be a wild show.
That would be unhinged. I don't know if they would. I don't know if they would do that for the finale. Maybe next year, but I don't think they would have a finale on that.
Yeah. Whenever when we were prepping for the Superfans like best of the 2010s episode from a couple weeks ago, whenever I'd watch a sketch and like Tim Robinson would surprise like pop up because it was like during his season, I would just get like so happy and so excited. And he was like always funny. I like had no real recollection from watching him when I was like younger, watching those episodes live. And then like, oh, this guy's hilarious. I can't believe I had no feelings about him like not being on the cast anymore. The canceled shows, like, I tried to watch Keenan. It was cute.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it was
watched
gonna last
a couple episodes. Obviously like it's unfortunate for Keenan, but like also like he's like still got SNL, and Chris Red still got SNL going for them. But like,
Yeah,
you
Keenan will
know,
have Lauren's seat in a couple of years, so it's
right?
fine.
Yeah, maybe like it's an intentional sort
Oh
of
yeah,
thing. But
transition.
Mr. Mayor is one I feel bad about
I
too,
liked
because
it a
like
lot.
I'm like such a self-proclaimed like Bobby Moynihan enthusiast, and like I was just like a couple hours ago, like I always watch like the late night with Seth Meyers interviews, especially when like SNL alumni are on it, and Bobby Moynihan
Mhm.
was promoting Mr. Mayor on it, and like they show a clip from Mr. Mayor, and like this is hilarious. Why am I not watching Mr. Mayor? Like I need to watch Mr. Mayor, and then it gets canceled. So now I'm like,
I've
do I
watched
watch
every
Mr.
episode.
Mayor? Yeah.
And I love Ted Danson. That's my guy. One of my favorite Twitter accounts is actually, if you follow me on Twitter, you can see I interact with it almost daily. Is today Ted Danson's birthday? And every day it says, no, today is not Ted Danson's birthday. And then shockingly, once a year, the tweet changes
Uh-huh.
to, yes, today is Ted Danson's birthday.
Wow.
But
I
upsetting
love dumb
loss.
Twitter accounts like
I
that.
love it.
Like going back to Kendrick, there's one like, did Kendrick Lamar release a new album today? And it's like
Nope.
every day for like years, it's like, no, no, no. But
It's
tomorrow,
so good.
yes.
You have
Yeah.
to, yeah. I'm gonna see that retweet from you. But yeah, just
Yeah.
before we talk about my favorite segment, actually no, this is a good transition into it. So I know you mentioned cooking with Selena, and Selena Gomez is just ever since she was announced on SNL, she's kind of been like all over the place.
Yeah.
This isn't even enough for a story because it's so stupid, but there's been obviously, I wonder if they'll address it on the show, so I'll give some context. But obviously, Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber dated for years. They were like the teen couple of like kind of like preceding Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens coming callback. And they dated for a while. Obviously, Justin is happily married now to Haley Baldwin Bieber. And all the time there is just stuff everywhere on Selena's, like Haley Bieber gets hate all the time for breaking up Justin and Selena, which is so long ago. And Selena's had other she dated The Weeknd, who was also on
Yeah.
the show on SNL, and like there's just been a lot of Selena. But then in the news right before her SNL thing, which I don't think they'll address because it's so dumb, but basically Haley Bieber did maybe a TikTok or YouTube video, and I will try and verbalize it for the audio, but for people on video, it was just Haley simply like putting on a face cream, like putting it on, and then Selena, who has her own makeup company that has skincare, Rare Beauty, did a video after Haley where she was very dramatically rubbing the lotion into her face, and everyone's like, "This is a dig at Haley," and it's like that's what every influencer does when putting lotion on. It's like people in face wash commercials that splash the water dramatically. Like, I don't know. I mean, as we discussed actually in the Roundtable Monday, Selena Gomez used to be the most followed person on Instagram. Like, she's huge, and she obviously
Yeah.
has Only Murders in the Building, which will have a season 2. And she has Rare Beauty, which, like, if anyone needs a mascara recommendation, I will like put my life on the line for the Rare Beauty mascara. Like, she's just killing it in the world. She had some paid partnership with this Tupperware company like today. So I think she's just huge, and I'm really excited, and I'm kind of hoping they don't call back to all this stupid like Justin Bieber stuff just because like it's so old. Like get
Yeah.
over it
I mean,
now.
unless she like wants to, you know what I mean? Like
Make a
even like
joke of it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I yeah, I echo everything you said. First off, like Selena Gomez on TikTok, I think her TikToks are like some of the funniest celebrity
Yes. She's
TikToks like
funny.
out there. Like she's really funny. I'm sure like hanging out with like Steve Martin and Martin Short all the time, like you're gonna get like funnier or like have like just like more of like a tune in on like timing and things like that. So I have
Yeah.
like very high expectations
Me
for this
too.
weekend, whether or not there's like a big Steve Martin and Martin Short presence. Like I'm here for like a Selena Gomez episode. Like I loved like Wizards of Waverly Place as a kid. Like I just like I don't know, just a big fan of hers in general. Her
Me too.
music, like in college, like
Wow.
she had like so many like bops like
So
around
I
that time.
can't. So
Yeah.
as I disclosed, and I actually got DMs after the roundtable Monday, but I said I think Selena Gomez is not a good singer. I think her music
Oh
sucks, and I
my
don't know.
God.
Not every Disney star needed to pursue a music career. Like Miley Cyrus
That's
should.
ridiculous.
I think Selena Gomez, like I could sound like her, and I'm a horrible singer. Like she's not great.
But okay,
No, 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 no.
well, that was like like a almost like a Disney era song, but like I don't know. I just feel like maybe the production carries in a lot of her music, but like I feel like the production on a lot of her songs from back in the day, I have to pull up like Same
No,
Old
like
Love, Hands to
no, like it's
Myself,
not.
you
I
know.
don't think. I don't think she's a good singer, and I just like I say you're not perfect. Like you're close, but it just without singing. Yeah. So I'm excited. I
Well, and
hope
you
they
know
don't
what?
have.
It's fine. She's not the musical guest this weekend,
I
so
hope they don't
you'll
have a
be
musical sketch though. I hope they don't have a
yeah.
musical sketch. Well, actually, no. I take that back. I'm again net neutral on a musical sketch because I would hope Post Malone would be in it. And
Mm.
if no one's heard his singing voice, he has a gorgeous singing voice. He's a song called "Feeling Whitney" or "Whitey," one of the above.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if there's an
feeling
end in that.
Whitney.
"Feeling Whitney,"
Yeah,
voice of an angel. The song is like a minute long, and it just I don't know. I hope his new music has songs. But I guess speaking of SNL this week, my favorite segment of Hollywood Dish is what do we think they'll mention on SNL? Don't defend your answer. So just to recap, we spoke about Jesse Williams, Patti Lupone, Young Thug and Gunna, Zac Efron, High School Musical reboot, Kendrick Lamar, and then all the shows that were canceled and renewed. So
mm,
I won't put you on the spot. So I will
yeah,
first start by saying I do think they will make a Broadway reference. So this is kind of a cop out. So I guess I'll pick one of the two Broadway stories. Um, I think they will talk about Jesse Williams on Broadway. It's so good.
yeah,
The content's there.
yeah. No, that is one I think they can definitely talk about. Is it breaking the rules if there's like something I read in the news that I feel like is 100% going to be a weekend update joke that I want to shout out?
Yes, do it. It's not breaking the
Okay,
rules.
very very quickly because we didn't talk about it. The actor James Cromwell, who's like recently been in Succession, he's been like a million things. He recently was protesting at a Starbucks because they charge like an additional fee for like non-dairy milk, like almond milk and oat milk and stuff like that. And during the protest, he like super glued his hand to like the Starbucks counter and like was protesting with people there. And this guy is like 70 plus years old. Like he's like 70 or 80, or like he could even be like
Oh
80
my
years old.
God.
He's like old. He's been in like a lot of different things. That is 100% going to be a weekend update joke.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can see like Colin Jost like making some sort of joke about that. So that is my
Yeah.
guess. I don't know from the
That's a good
stories that we
guess,
talked
though.
about. From the stories we talked about, I feel like the safest bet is the Jesse Williams,
Yeah.
you know, connection.
Yeah. Well, I know. I think that that's such a good story. And to be fair, I think that they shouldn't charge extra. And
Right. I agree.
but I'm biased because I'm an oat milk girl. But
Oh, so I'm an
yeah,
oatmeal man.
well, I'm gonna quickly say, we obviously know we have the Selena Gomez Post Malone episode coming up this Saturday, which I know I am so excited for. And then right after that, at 1:10 a.m. Eastern time, we will have the Hot Take Show hosted by John Schneider. And then there's a panel with Andrew Dick and Kaylina. And then on Monday, John will also host the roundtable, and that will feature John, TJ, Rich, and Jamie Burwood. And then we'll be here, Hollywood Dish, next Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. I know today we moved to 6. Thank you. I'm working Pacific time. So there's that. And Nicole, we hope you feel better. But in lieu of that, Sammy, thank you so much for joining me today. And going from guest to the host seat within minutes. So thank you so much. This has been so much fun. And
Yeah.
where can people find you?
Absolutely no problem. I'm so happy I was able to work it out with my schedule, not only to guest, but help fill in for Nicole. Nicole, missed you on tonight's episode. Hope you feel better. But yeah, you guys can find me at that Sammy Kay on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And also feel free to check out any of the past Superfan takeovers we've done. The most recent one that we did was the best of the 2010s SNL episodes. And that was a lot of fun. So if you haven't watched that yet, please check it out.
Yeah, thank you. This was so fun. But as always, you can find me at Barbecue, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, I guess, if you want to send me good TikToks. I haven't posted in a while. And please be sure to follow us at the SNL Network on all socials. So all the ones I just listed. And like, subscribe on this. So stay tuned with everything that we're up to. And thank you, Sammy, again. And thanks everyone for hanging out with us. And we'll see you next Thursday.
See you
Bye.
guys.